So you want to be like these pro academy ballers on Instagram, living the dream, playing football full time, and training at these fancy facilities. But you're still playing on your local club team, or maybe you're not even playing for a club at the moment. And you want to join a team, but you're afraid that you won't even make the team. If this sounds like you, don't worry, because in today's video, I'm going to share with you the 5 habits that prove you're an amateur footballer and how you can fix them to instantly become a better player next time you step on the pitch. Habit number 1. Not doing individual training or doing the wrong kind of training. The first thing I see so many amateur footballers doing, or rather not doing, is individual training outside of team trainings. If you think that your team trainings alone are going to be enough to take your game to the next level, you've got to observe why you aren't where you want to be right now in football. When you look at interviews with pro players at the very top level, they all did extra individual technical work outside of team training. I mean, just listen to this clip of Son talking about the technical work he did with his dad when he was younger.
Tough training sessions.
Well, he had some interesting drills and a long time juggling the ball, I'm told.
Yeah, it was hard. I've been like 4 hours juggling the ball.
4 hours?
Yeah, can you imagine 4 hours?
걸려요. 네, 근데 거기서 볼 떨구면 40분 사이에 공이 땅에 떨어지면 그땐 뭐 불호력 떨어지죠. 네, 그렇게 했어요. 네.
There's nothing more amateur than having poor technique, and coaches and scouts see this from the very first time you touch the ball. The way you receive the ball, pass the ball, dribble, and shoot is very different when you have put in the hours to improve your isolated technical work. Many people say, oh, but it's not game realistic, there's no defenders. Let me ask you, if you can't execute a certain technique in isolation when you have all the time in the world, no pressure and no defenders, how on earth do you expect yourself to be able to magically pull it off in games when it matters? Of course, the technical training is not everything, but it is the foundation. Without it, the decision-making side is useless, because you can make the best decisions, but if you can't execute on those decisions, you won't stand out on the pitch. The other thing about individual training is that many amateur ballers are doing the wrong kind of training. They think that just going out to the pitch and shooting some shots on their own or with their friends is a quote, productive training session. Don't get me wrong, this is certainly better than doing nothing at all, but there are levels to this game. And for you guys that are serious about making a career out of football, you have to approach these individual training sessions with focus. Doing 30 minutes of focused deep work in the flow state is far better than 2 hours of just casually kicking the ball around. Create a plan of what you will do in your session, stick to it, and try to make every single touch you take better than the last. Learn the physics of how your body and the ball moves and reacts to certain micro movements and adjustments. For example, you are passing against the wall, and when you hit just 1 centimeter under the middle of the ball, it goes slightly up and bobbles. The next touch, understand why the last pass bobbled and adjust until you get it right. Change your ball contact area just 1 centimeter or a few degrees each time until you find that sweet spot. There's no point in repeating the same thing over and over again mindlessly with no results. You're just wasting your time, so be mindful when you train and see your progress accelerate. Habit number 2, only looking at the ball in games, not scanning. The second habit that screams amateur is only looking at the ball in games. When you watch players at the lower levels of the game, you see them just following the ball with their eyes as it moves around the pitch. And then when they receive the ball, they take a touch and look up and take a second to think and then play. Whereas when you look at the pros play, they're constantly scanning the pitch, especially before they receive the ball, because this allows them to play faster when they receive it, making it much harder for the defenders to win the ball off you, because you're always one step ahead of them. Players like Xavi have been reported to scan as much as 50 times per minute on average. Just look at this clip of him here. The amount of times he checks his shoulder before he receives the ball is almost insane, but this is what allowed him to be one of the greatest midfielders of all time. This doesn't just apply to midfielders though. Every position on the field requires you to look at where the space is, rather than the current position of the ball. You might be asking yourself now, Daniel, but what do I look for when I check my shoulder? This is a very good question, because there's no point in just scanning for the sake of scanning. There needs to be some intentionality to it. The key things to be aware of are, where is the ball, where are my teammates, and where are the defenders positioned. If you know where the defenders are, then you know where the open space to exploit is. More space equals more time, and everyone is a better player when they have more time. Scanning the field will also make you more confident to receive the ball and eliminate your fear of making mistakes. Because if you actually examine what you are afraid of when you are hiding away in matches, is that you will lose the ball and the coach, teammates, or fans on the sidelines will yell at you. The reason you are afraid is because you are uncertain of your next move. You don't know what you will do with the ball when you get it. You don't know where the defenders are. Therefore, you are afraid someone will come in from your blind spot and tackle you. Because there was some moment in the past when this happened and your coach, teammates, parents, or fans yelled at you for losing the ball, and now you don't want to get on the ball and take risks to create something for your team. Scanning is the solution. When you know exactly what you will do with the ball when you receive it, of course you'll be confident that you will get the first touch, pass, dribble, or shot away in time before the defenders close you down, because you know where you want to play before you even receive the ball. You are one step ahead of the defenders all the time. When you start doing this, defenders end up chasing your shadow the whole game. This is exactly how physically small and weak players like Iniesta and Xavi were able to dominate all these physically strong guys, despite being a fraction of the size. Habit number 3, only focusing on the on-field aspects of the game. Top baller lifestyle. Another thing that differentiates the pros from the amateurs is that they align their whole lifestyle to help them perform better on the pitch. They make sure they optimize their sleep by having a pitch black room, cool room temperature, taping their mouth when they sleep, wearing blue light blocking glasses in the hours before sleep, not staying up till 3 AM every night, and making sure they are getting enough hours of sleep to recover their mind and body. Aside from sleep, they also eat a clean, natural diet, eliminating processed foods and maintaining good gut health. The pros also take care of their hydration, ensuring they drink enough water and micronutrients to replenish their body's needs. Additionally, the pros also align themselves with nature by grounding, getting morning sunlight, waking up at the same time each day, taking saunas and ice baths, and optimizing their testosterone by removing synthetic estrogenic products from their life. As you can see, there are a lot of things that the pros do to maximize their recovery, performance, and lifestyle. And that's not even mentioning things like getting massages, rolling out their tight muscles with massage balls, Normatec compression therapy, massage guns, meditation, breathwork, visualization, and taking supplements. What people don't seem to understand is that being a pro footballer is literally a full-time job, except you're working 24/7 even when you're sleeping. That's also part of your work, because that's what will allow you to perform on the pitch in training and games. These footballers work all day, every day to be in the best possible physical, technical, tactical, and mental shape come game day. That's what they are paid to do. The way you work your job 9 to 5, these footballers are optimizing their performance all day, even beyond the 9 to 5. This doesn't mean they train all day or even train every day, but what it does mean is that they align their whole lifestyle to the goal of performing on the pitch to the highest possible level. If you can start incorporating at least a few of those things I mentioned before into your daily or weekly schedule, you will be on your way to living and performing like a top baller. Habit number 4, lacking a footballer physique. One thing you can see if you watch football of varying levels is the physicality of players. The players at the top level of the game are bigger, stronger, faster, and fitter than those at the amateur level. This is simply because they train their physique more often than amateur players, who for the most part don't do any additional physical conditioning training. If you're serious about becoming a top baller, then building a footballer physique should be up there on your priority list. One of the best ways to get fitter is to simply play more football. Play small-sided pickup games more often, and this will build game-specific fitness, which is going to be far more beneficial for your performance than just going out and running 5 kilometers. To get faster, one of the easiest things you can do, which has been proven to increase sprint speed, is to simply run sprints at max speed at least 2 times per week. Simply using your muscles at max speed will be enough to create the adaptation necessary in the muscle fibers for you to start running faster. For the strength part of the footballer physique, you want to be lifting compound movements rather than isolated lifts. For the upper body, you want to just get strong in general, so you can put your arm up to protect the ball and have enough mass and strength to compete in shoulder-to-shoulder battles. Exercises like dips, pull-ups, bench press, trap 3 raise, and some shoulder rotator cuff work for preventing injuries will be more than enough to build a strong upper body for your football needs. For the lower body, there are some key areas you need to focus on, such as the lower back, which can be hit using the exercise on screen now, hamstrings, which can be trained with the Nordic curls or full range of motion seated good morning, the tibialis, which is the muscle on the front of your shin, which is important for bulletproofing your knees and ankles, which can be trained with just your body weight against the wall, like this. The quads, specifically the VMO, which is the teardrop muscle on your quads. This muscle is responsible for stabilizing your knee and is crucial for preventing the dreaded ACL injuries, which are becoming more common in football and can ruin a player's whole career. And the hip flexors, so you can pick up your legs faster when you run. This will give you a good foundation to work from, and you can add and remove as you feel necessary to adapt it to your needs. Habit number 5, soft passes. One habit that not many people talk about, but it is very obvious to see as you progress through the levels, is the speed at which normal passes are hit at the higher levels of the game, compared to the amateur level. When I'm talking about soft passes, I don't mean all passes. There's a time and place for passing softer and taking care of the weight of pass. But at the pro level, you see the basic circulation passes fizzed in much harder than these soft passes at the amateur level across the back line, which take like 5 seconds to arrive at the guy's feet. When you pass this slow, the defenders hardly have to move. Compared to when you move the ball quickly, that team's gonna get tired earlier in the game, opening up spaces in the last 20 to 30 minutes of games. So if you want to start leveling up and looking like a top baller the next time you play, make sure you hit your passes harder while also understanding when to adjust the weight of pass for maximum advantage. Guys, in this video we've downloaded pro level football datasets into your brain. It's your choice whether you take this information on board or discard it. I won't force you to do anything. This is your life and your career. Now is the time to make your next move on the chessboard of life. Choose wisely, my friend.